Now let's extend our program a bit and use conditions. If our value or variable has a certain value, what needs to be done? Now we're going to use a test value, an integer, and we give it the value 1. And now based on this value, we will decide what we will do. Now, the first if checks if the value is smaller than or equals to 1. Now all if conditions, so what needs to happen if a value, if a condition is true, has to be within accolades. That's what we do here. By the way, Java doesn't force you to use tabs or spaces to keep your code clean, but of course, as a good developer, you want readable code. And that's exactly what is achieved by using these tabs and nice formatting in these code examples. So if our value is smaller than or equals than 1, we will output the value is 1 or smaller. If our value is equal to 2, we will output the value is 2. And then we have all other conditions. If it's not the first one or the second one, we will just output the value. There's a special thing to keep in mind when comparing strings. A string is an object, so it's an object that contains text. And this can be quite confusing if you start with Java and this object-oriented approach, that this string object and this string object are not equal. Actually, they have a different casing. So we have a small w and here we have a big one. But even if you would make them lowercase, they will not be equal because they are objects having a string content. So let's run this example. We have Java if then else. Now we see indeed the value is 1 or smaller, and then the strings, are they equal? Yes, they are equal because we use the string equals function. We don't check if string 1 equals string 2. We really compare if the content of the object is the same thing. And the same happens for all the other ones. Now, if you start playing with this, so if I make my integer value -10, then I should get the same output. Save this and run it. It's 1 or smaller, that's correct. If I make it 10, run it again, the value is 10. That's exactly what we're expecting here. And then with the strings, you can play a bit to see how they equal or how they, like for instance here, we are using equals ignore case. This is a function that will help you to compare string values independent if they have the same casing or not.